Good day, podcast community. We are here. I'm Pete Kane, Podcast Pete, where we podcast, publish, and create and build thriving communities locally and globally. Now, you hear the word globally and you go, what the heck is he talking about? Well, we've already transitioned into a digital trend. I want you to recognize the 5 trends. And if you do, I'm going to give you 2 other steps in this time I'm with you. And if you can recognize these steps, because it does take thinking and really pondering what's going on. We tend to be busy. We consume 4 hours of TV a day and we scroll 2 hours of social media. If you use 6 hours and if you're awake for 18, that's a third of your day consuming. We were built to create. Nobody has a statue of the best person to consume content, to consume other people's lives, but we tend to fall into that habit. That's why it's so important to change our mindset, to start setting goals, start creating good outcomes through your habits. We've done other videos on the 5 mega trends, but I'll go through them because they're critical for us to think about the time we're in. We're in the most exciting time in the history of this country, and certainly in the history of my life. I'm 67. 3 years ago, I found myself sitting in a hospital bed, wondering what the future was going to be like with half of my body working. See, I had a massive stroke. Didn't realize that I should call 911, which lesson learned. Don't start calling your friends and your family. They got to call 911. What the heck are you doing calling them? Call 911. I do know it now. Didn't know it at the time. So 3 years ago, you wake up, half your body's not working. You can't talk, you can't walk, you can't do anything with half of your body. You tend to start thinking about life. Brendon Burchard, who's a mentor of mine, who certified me as a high performance coach in that 3-year journey back, talks about mortality motivation, and it is real. So when you look at death in the mirror and you survive, you change. Because life is short, very short. We're here and we're gone. Not one person makes it out of this life alive. I know it's kind of a joke. I mean, not a joke, but it's a play on words. We all are going to die. Nobody gets to live forever. And as we want to make an impact, if we want to make an impact, you have to think differently. You have to think about being intentional about showing up, being intentional about setting goals, work on your mindset, create good habits. Because if we're going to fall into a routine of watching TV 4 hours a day, scrolling social media, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're spending 2 hours a day scrolling other people's lives, I'll guarantee you're going to come up empty. We were built and created to create. Look at the people that are doing the most in life. They create. They create. Look at Elon Musk. He's a pretty much a super creator. Now, would you want his life? I think he says he wouldn't because he's got a very active brain. But what I'm saying is be a creator. There's nothing, I mean, he can work. There's stories of him working, sleeping on the floor. You know you love it when you're creating and you don't even keep track of time. And that's kind of what I did. Not, I certainly didn't build 3 companies, but I spent 15 hours a day creating what we have here now. And I'm going to give you a gift at the end of this, but I want to frame this for you because the five major trends, and actually there's six, but let's give you the five major trends. The digital asset revolution. Everything's gone digital and has been for quite a few years. We're out of the revolution, industrial revolution, gone, finished. The idea of working 40 years for one company in a factory or doing something for an extended period of time, like 40 years, is the generation that we, the 20s and 30s, the teens, there, I heard something. I don't know if it's exactly right, but it's that you can understand the concept. Before age 35, they're going to have like eight jobs, eight career not. I don't know if it's career changes, but they're going to change. That's why they're not interested in working 40 years because the world changed. It's global, and digital can be global. That's why we build thriving communities globally, because our support team is in the Philippines, 13 hours away. 13 hours. I've been working with Trexa and Rolando. Trexa for 2.5 years and Rolando for almost a year. So you now have a global economy because everybody has access to, well, let me back that up. The first is digital asset revolution. The second is entrepreneurial. It's never been easier to start a business. Look at some of the young people. They have no frame of reference. And when I say young, younger than 60. So, but what I say is they don't know that you worked 40 years for a company and then you retired. They just know that the world is digital. And they're creating massive companies at a young age. There's a guy, I'm trying to think, I think his YouTube channel is, I think he's 22 from the University of Texas. He interviews successful people all over the world. Calls it Hard Knocks or something. 22, and he's crushing it because he's creating digital assets. Look at Mr. Beast. I don't know how old he is, but he's not that old. I think he's still in his 20s. He's the number one YouTuber out there. I'm not saying you be a YouTuber, but think creatively. Think of creating something. You don't have to build a factory anymore. You can create a business. Be an entrepreneur. You can be working your regular job, but when you come home, instead of watching TV for 4 hours, you start creating something. Just create something. The third trend is, let me see, Bitcoin, digital crypto. Bitcoin's leading it because there's only 21 million coins. So you can't manipulate, can't print $1 zillion like we did here in America. I mean, we're so far in debt because they just spent money like a drunken sailor. Now there's more accountability up there, and we're seeing some crazy things. When you're spending somebody else's money, hey, you don't have any frame of reference. So they're always giving money away to their people, their cronies, their personal interests. And it wasn't aligned with our taxpayer because we pay for that stuff. Yes, we do. And we're tired of it. We're tired of the abuse. And now the government's being downsized. Just like everybody needs to think about that because you can do more with less. The fourth trend is AI, technology. Technology always drives everything. I saw a photo back, I don't know the exact years, but it was when the horse and buggy, it was on, I think, in New York City, maybe Times Square or something like that. And the road was busy with horse and buggy. 13 years later, they took the same picture and there was a few cars on there. In 13 years, we went from horse and buggy to automobiles. Now, Were there people trying to create faster horse and buggies? I think probably. But if you want to create faster horse and buggy and you're in the automobile industry and you can get in an automobile, there ain't no horse and buggy can go as fast as a car, but you have to understand the trend. The trend shifted. And so we had that industrial revolution for whatever, how many years it was. Now we're now into the AI revolution. It's going to change. You're going to have robots. You're going to have so many things that humans used to do, same as like a farm. When the farm tractor came out, you didn't have to have a pick and you didn't have to have 100 people in the field. A tractor could do the job of 100 people or whatever the number is. And you have to recognize how technology is going to change us. So if you're a business person out there and you're like I was a year ago when Jeff kept saying, Peter, you using AI? And I said, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. I've got podcasts to do. And he said, just start playing with it. And I did. And actually, if you look at the top here, goals, mindset, goals, and habits, when I first started that course, I'm dyslexic and ADD. I flunked English in high school, 2 failed attempts at Virginia Tech. Academics was never my thing. I'd misspell half the words in a sentence. But when I did AI and I asked it to give me a 12-week course based on this, this, and this, and it cranked it out in about 15 seconds, old Pete, I would never have been able to do it. It might even take me a year to do it because that kind of skill set for me personally was not something I was good at. I couldn't write if my life depended on it. Now, fast forward now, I'm much better now because I have the assistance, and I won't say it because I said it on previous podcasts, but it's spelled Alexis. And that word will help me spell any word. Or the other word that begins with S that's connected to an iOS, to the Apple phone. So those tools, those technologies helped me immensely. If I had them back when I was trying to get out of high school, I might have got out of high school in one piece without going to summer school and trying to make up the class and trying to pass and then trying to go to Virginia Tech. I don't know what could have helped me back then, but obviously voice to text now is crushing it for me. That's an example of how technology is helping people like myself. So I am now a super learner because how do I read a book? I first get a summary on AI. I order an audio. I listen to the audio at 2x speed. Then I buy the book and then I speed read because my brain now is conditioned to pull out what were the highlights. Do I read from cover to cover? A lot of times I don't. I just try to skim and get the most and then apply it. Apply what you learn. Because if you start teaching what you learn, your ability to retain goes from like 10% to 90%. It's crazy. That's why you see a lot of videos out there. What I try to do with Growth Day is when Brendan gives us a daily fire framework, I write it down. I put it in my journal app. I put a summary together and then I start teaching it. Because if I can teach it, I retain it. So I'm doing it for myself, but I love adding content out there. But that's how I now learn. I'll tell you a quick story. It blew me away. Actually brought me to tears. So I have my stroke, and I used to run I ran 20 some Peachtrees. I did it for the runner's high. I was not a marathon runner, but just a social runner, as I called it, because I could think. I could think and process and listen to personal development. It was just like, I don't know. It was my release. I would play golf up to 5 days a week after work. And it was just my way of getting out and doing some things. Well, that was taken away one night. Now, when something's taken away, you have to figure out. The cards now are different. How are you going to play those cards? Can't run, still can't run. I look like I zigzag when I walk because it's balance. But that's 3 years later. I was on a call, and I'll tell you the story I was intending to say. And this person's familiar with stroke and brain injuries. And so they will never tell you when I was at Shepherd. I'll be at Shepherd. Tomorrow's my anniversary of 3 years ago arriving at Shepherd. Heavenly place, incredible. That's a story for another day. But when about a year and a half after my stroke, they had a grant that they got to study the left side of the brain. I called my friend, Dr. Richie Zane. I said, "Are you going down to Shepherd for this study?" He goes, "No, mine's the right side, not the left side." So we were chatting about that. So anyway, I go down there, and it's like you do a study, then you wait a year, then they do another study to study the brain and just see how because they just don't know. The brain is incredible. And what they would never tell me, and they don't tell anybody because they don't know how long it's going to take. So I'm on this call, and I asked the question because she said she worked with neuro patients and she was a PT. And none of my PTs would say it because they don't know. And I said, "Can you give me the best estimate of what it takes to recover?" Now, when she said 8 years, my heart sunk because I had heard before. I was playing one-handed, I don't know, about 9 months after. And I just didn't get into it because I knew I could eventually play two-handed. So I just wasn't that excited about playing that way. I mean, I know a lot of people do and they enjoy it, and everybody's different. But anyway, I'm playing with this guy, and he had a stroke 8-9 years ago. And I asked him, I said, like, how long did it take for you to play golf like you're doing now? And he said to me, 8 years. I went, what? At that time, he didn't even comprehend it. He said, now let me clarify it. Stamina. Play 18 holes took me 8 years because it's just weird. I don't know why. I had a date with my 9-year-old granddaughter, and she's the active one of our grandkids. And we're on a date. We go to lunch at Panera. Then we go to Barnes & Noble, and she misplaced a card. So we kept walking in and out of Barnes & Noble trying to find this card, looking all the way around it. Well, we covered a lot of ground. Then we went to Target because she had a gift card there, and we walked up and down Target. I'm telling you what, I felt like I ran 3 marathons. I came home and I barely made it home because I was so worn out. So it is the stamina that it takes a while for your brain to recover. So walking a mile took a long time. But anyway, I go back down to Shepherd, and it was an MRI where they put you in the tube. I think it's an MRI where they put you in the tube. Well, usually you keep your eyes closed, but they said, this one, are you okay, claustrophobic, whatever, with keeping your eyes open for 90% of the time? I said, sure, yeah, I can do that. So I do it. And I, had my eyes open the whole time, and it didn't bother me because it's all relative, your fears that you might have, being claustrophobic or whatever it is. So I get out and you now taking a cognitive test. And I go in, I take this test, and it's about 20, 25 minutes. And there's a series of maybe, I don't know, 100 questions or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. But after we finished, the guy that was giving me the test, he's kind of looking at me really weird. Like, you know how somebody looks at you and they're thinking something. And he said to me, "Have you ever taken this test before?" And I said, "No. Why you say that?" He goes, "You didn't miss a question." And I went, "What?" He goes, "I do these tests every day. Nobody's ever got them all right." Now, here's the stunning thing. I think in school, I never, ever got an A. Never. Even when I was at Virginia Tech, my brother's trying to help me out, and he goes, "Hey, there's a history class. This is sure A, because I needed A's to stay in because I'm flunking courses, whatever. And he tells me to take this one course. This is a sure A. B minus. So I said, sure A for some people, but it wasn't for me. So academics was not my thing. So I'd say that to say technology now is my friend. It's my superpower. When I wake up, I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement every single day. When I was at Overture, it's a 55 and older community in Kennesaw. So I find myself there. The average age is like 80. So I'm kind of touching senior living for the first time. It was quite an experience from the standpoint of understanding life. Because, like I said earlier, nobody makes it out of here alive. I would see somebody, talk with them, be with them. The next day, they're gone. A fall, whatever. So life is precious. It's very precious. And we don't have an unlimited time here. So when I always say at the end of my videos, be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Don't wait for 40 years to take your dream vacation. Do it do it every year. Just set up your business to where you have a lifestyle business. And that's what we do here. We set up lifestyle businesses. So you take mini vacations. You take vacations. I tell you, get on a cruise now. Used to be you could get last minute cabins. Not anymore. My cruise people say that's a thing of the past. I said, why? And they say, well, COVID really gave people an understanding how precious life is. And they're not waiting. They're going on it now, which is good because you want to enjoy life during your journey, during your life. Don't wait till you're retired. And in a lot of cases, you retire and your health is not there. So you're wanting to go off the boat and do some things and walk around, but you're not physically able because you waited. And the body does wear down. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. So the fifth trend, thanks for bearing with me. If anybody is, fifth trend is mobile. Everybody. This is a supercomputer. There it is. Supercomputer. Everybody has one practically. And when you have millions and millions of people that have a supercomputer, it's going to accelerate our ability to do things. When you can do all the things you can do on that iPhone, holy mackerel. A friend of mine Lucas Mota. I was showing him Growth Day, and I'm going to share with you a community of personal development. That's the sixth one. I was showing him some of the features on it after my Rotary meeting, and he said, "Oh, I do that on the iPhone, the journaling." And I said, "Really? What does that look like? I've seen something, I think." And he showed me. Well, it took 2 days to get used to it. I haven't missed a day. I have, let's see. Let me see here. I'm curious. Hold on here. Yeah, I have 141 days journaling, 117,000 words, and it's searchable. I can find anything. So when I'm with somebody, the ability to recall becomes so much better because I'm not storing information in the brain. I'm using it to think, journal, plan, implement. So if you do those things, you'll be better because it's so easy to jump into our inbox, which is other people's priorities, as a first thing we do. Or we're looking at our screen, our small screen, before we go to bed. And we're wondering why we're not sleeping as well as we used to, or as well as we think we can, because we're looking at this small screen and we're scrolling social media. Judgment. Do I like it? Do I comment it? Do I like it? Do I comment? So you're just fatiguing the brain. I haven't been on social media in a couple of years. I used to do it. When I first started in marketing, kind of the online marketing world, I did social media. So I understand it. And it was kind of fascinating because I could then know what my nieces and nephews were doing, even though I'm 10 hours away. I was able to stay connected, but I knew I needed to give my brain a break. And giving it a break was cutting out TV and cutting out social media. So I basically freed myself up of 6 hours, what the average person is using. And what did I do? I journaled. I thought. I read. And that served me so well. And I built an incredible business. And that's where my 3 years of building this intensely is your benefit, because you can take advantage of the focus and the intensity of building our ecosystem. Let me give it to you right now. So if you go to, no, I didn't do that. Hit the wrong one. If you go to petekane.me/masterclass, you'll get our ecosystem, because it's 10 steps, and there's a bonus on there, 10 steps to grow and scale. Because if you're not positioning yourself today to be a key person of influence, meaning I meet you, what am I going to do? I'm going to Google you. Because it's not who you say you are, it's who Google says you are. And if I Google you and I see nothing, or I see a website and maybe a LinkedIn profile, or maybe an Instagram page or something like that, I just see a couple things, I'm going to think, man, maybe he wasn't as impressive as he was that other night. Now, Google me, put Pete Kane, put podcast, and see all the videos, maybe 300 to 400 podcasts. I lost track, a lot of content. You can go to Pete Kane, just put Pete Kane in there. You'll see my YouTube channel. And that way you can kind of see the content and see our ecosystem, because number 1 is assessments. Number 2 is podcasts, online courses, Podcast Academy. It's all about digital assets. Number 3 is high performance coaching, because you have to be guided through the strategy of this. Number 4 is our magazine and workbook. It's publishing. Number 5 is Growth Day. And you can try Growth Day for 7 days. Try it out. Have a person with 20 plus years of working. He's by far the best in the industry. When you understand his story and understand what he's doing with Growth Day, I think they're closing on 500,000 people in 60 plus countries. And he has the most phenomenal teachers. So you're learning every day, and he's teaching you every day a unique framework of his 25 plus years of coaching, creating content. He's given that to you each day. I write down each day and I try to teach it. So you can get it for 7 days, and it's like 5 to Thrive. You got to have habits. Habits are outcomes. So if you have a habit of the 5 to Thrive and your growth streaks, only imagine what you're going to be like a year from now, because you will not be the same person. You'll be a person who invested in themselves, who got better daily, who created good habits, that started to set goals, deadlines, that have a better mindset. Because have you ever been around a person that has a negative mindset? It's kind of like if you didn't take a shower for a month, how bad would you smell? You would stink. If you don't read books, work on personal development each day, it's like not taking a shower. Eventually, you start to stink, and your attitude starts to stink if you don't invest in yourself. So I sometimes I'll talk to a person and I'll say, like, are you reading any personal development books? And they'll say, and don't take this the wrong way, oh, I only read the Bible. And that's great. That's fantastic. But the Bible inspired other people to write books. So you have to have specific skills that you gain. That can be your foundation. But read books, listen to. There's so much great content out on YouTube now. Get the ad-free. That's what I do. I don't want interruptions in my brain. Ad-free, except the person that does it. But I'm saying YouTube doesn't interrupt you every 10 minutes with an ad, because it's kind of like you're working in an office and somebody comes in and says, hey, Pete, how you doing? And you're kind of trying to stay focused on an activity. Breaks up that monotony. Breaks up that mind focus. Same thing happens on YouTube. If you I think I paid $25 for 5 people. It's the best $25 you'll spend, because you can just absorb the great content that's out there. Instead of watching TV, listen to personal development. Instead of scrolling social, invest in yourself in Growth Day. Get better at skills. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, I know I can. Hold on here. Let me just take this off for a second. Hold on. I'm going to show you some share. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Oh, man, I love it. Okay. Hold on here. Let me just go. Look at the screen. Okay. That's the first part. Level up your peer group. If you haven't heard Brendan's training on this, if you're intentional about how you reach out, I think you may have heard, when we pass away, we're lucky if we have 1 or 2 friends. We sometimes don't even have enough to carry the casket, because we didn't invest in relationships. And if you're not intentionally leveling up the kind of people that you want to be around, you'll end up settling for toxic nature. Just the way, what sells news? Negative. So if you're always looking at the news, always reading this stuff, it's going to affect your brain. It's going to affect the way you operate. But if you're around people that are going places, that have goals, that have a good mindset, that have good habits. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. Now, it's changed in the digital world. It wasn't this way 25 years ago, but you can hang around 5 people on YouTube, 5 people you think are good influences on helping you grow. So when you look at this, and I'm going to try and give you a tiny bit of, okay, so continuous learning, total product blueprints, the master program for high performance coaching, bringing out the best in others, master class. And let me just go down. Let me just see here. Okay, here's the learn section. Okay, this is continuous learning courses. Look at all the courses. Now, if I open up this and I look at all the courses, is that mind-boggling? Yes, it is. Level up your peer group, masterclass, taught by all these different individuals. Getting organized, masterclass. New Year's Success Accelerator by Brendan. High Performance Edge with Ed Milet and Brendan. Emotional Freedom. Love and Relationship Masterclass. Every month they have a theme, and so you can get all the replays of all the live events they did in California. They don't do them as much, but they still do monthly events. Public speaking, you want to be a better public speaker. In our community of key person of influence, you got to learn how to speak. Because if you're going to be a person of influence, speaking on a platform is an important skill to learn. And it's just a skill. I had a person that asked him twice to be a speaker. I mean, he's got to get clients or he's never. But I found out I was the last client. The last 6 months, he'd only got one client because he was afraid to speak. Afraid. If you let your fear own you, then it's going to own you. If you're stepping out of your comfort zone, is public speaking, it's the number 2 fear to dying. So it's a fear, it's real. But if you don't go out there and lean into being uncomfortable and you let fear own you, then the fear is going to grow. But if you're being uncomfortable and you're courageous in doing something that you're not, just, hey, look, we're all looking at ourselves going, oh, I hope I don't say this the wrong word or something. You're inner focused when you're speaking. You have to go from inner focus to the crowd, the people that you can influence, the people you can speak to. When you think of others instead of yourself, which is this person did, obviously, had all the excuses 2 months in a row. One time it was a wedding. Oh, I got a wedding at 3:00. This was 10:00 in the morning. How long does it take you to get ready for a wedding? Where is it? Oh, it's in Canton. Oh, that's about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. But every excuse is equal. So what happened? He let fear own him. And he'll never grow his business because if fear owns you in that place, it'll own you in other places, other parts of your life. So fitness mindset, advanced human behavior change, creating systematic wealth, success, overcoming stress and overwhelm, how to use growth day, boosting self-esteem masterclass. Well, I'm thinking I got a coaching class at 11. Winning the year masterclass, success at work masterclass, giving masterclass, leveling up your love life. Oh, that's good. It's Valentine's Day. So, hey, that's something you better do if you want good relationships. Starting a movement. I've done that one because we are starting a movement. We want to create key persons of influence. And if you do that, you'll stand out above everybody else. But you have to create the content. You got to do podcasts and online courses. You have to understand when people search you, they're going to see something. They're either going to see a ghost or they're going to see a profile, lots of profiles. So Google search me and then Google search yourself. See what you see. Overcoming failure, and adversity. Look at this. And then you go to journaling. You have morning mindset journal. You have evening. You have growth prompts, and you have weekly reviews, and you have monthly reviews. All this, and you have life scores. Here's 39 scores, 5 whole life scores. Take an assessment. You got to check in with yourself to see how you're doing. See this? Different levels, because you have different days. Your checklist, you can put a checklist together. And community, this is cool. So if you want to do a meetup, you can do it. Look at these meetups. It's Valentine's Day. Let's discuss love and relationships by Susan Salter. Align Weeks Blueprints Life Satisfaction Planning. 8 people signed up. 23 people signed up for weekly intention meeting. 15 people for Susan's class. You can do that. That's part of the program. I used to have one here. I'm going to start, but I did it to test it just to see what it was like. But here, look at this. I'm a high performance coach. So here's just for high performance coaches. Look at this. All these people, they're high performance coaches like myself. So this is what you get, 7 days for free. And if you get the Daily Fire, Applying Love, 27 minutes. He did it from his manifesto. Wait, yeah, it's his second best book. Get a little tongue tied there, but anyway, it's Brendan's second book, and it's 27 minutes. Then you look at the comments there. Look at the likes. Look at the comments. Love, it's a superpower. Love is a superpower. Then you can put down here a surprise gift, note, and sign of appreciation I give to someone I love and care for is, and you can put that down here. There's your checklist. So let me go back here, and I'll go back. I got a little bit off. Okay, let me go right here. Okay, so commit to personal development. That's the 6th major trend, because if we don't work on ourselves, you're not going to change anybody. If you're trying to look for somebody to change, look yourself in the mirror. You change first. When you point at somebody, you got 3 pointing at yourself. Work on yourself first. And if you do this and you want to try it for 7 days, after you try it, it's $50 a month. The best investment you'll ever make in your life, period. Nothing close. And you just send us a support ticket at PeteKane.me and you'll get a free course. We'll send you a course. We want to give you a gift because it's our 5th ecosystem in what we have. So, and finally, lean into failure. Do the uncomfortable first. There's nothing accomplished staying in our comfort zone. I mean, it's comfortable, but you're not going to grow. I do a virtual event, which if you've been on my podcast, feel free to join us in our virtual event. I'll do it tomorrow just by myself because we're really kicking it off next week. So if you want to do 5 minutes, 3 points, and want to do it, you can go to PeteKane.me/virtual because we are creating a community of key persons of influence. We do 90 minutes a week, and we teach you to make a transformation. You're going to activate a book. You're going to create a podcast, and you're going to have content on your podcast, and you're going to build a community around you. And that is available. And let me see. Go to PeteKane.me/opportunity. If that's something you're interested in, take an assessment. Then we'll schedule somebody will be talking to you for 15 minutes to see if you're a good fit for us. And then if you are, we'll ask you, you can join. But it's the best investment you'll ever make. Growth Day is the best at the least amount of money. There's more of a commitment because you're getting a book, a podcast, and a community to build around. And that book is also, we put you in a magazine. So if you want to look at our magazines, okay, let me see. Where is it? There it is. Go to PeteKane.me/magazine. So I've got to let you run, but let me give you that gift again, that master class. Yes, the master class, the master classes. If this is something that you would like to be a part of, because what we're doing is 90 minutes, 30 minutes, we're going to teach you on high performance coaching. There's 12 sessions. We're going to do 30 minutes now on how to apply the 12 steps. So we have it broken up, and then you get 30 minutes very specific to understanding how to grow and scale, like using your podcast and using the resources. So if this is something that you're interested in, go apply at, let me see. I just finished. Oh, I can't do it right now. I just moved it. But you get a free course at PeteKane.me/AI. That's my partner, Jeff Bourgeois. He has an AI agency, 25 incredible language models for businesses to grow. You get a free course to try it out. See, you got to be familiar. Let me see if I can move this thing, because I want to give you the master class again, because that is our gift to you. There it is. So go to the master class. Master class is this. Number 1 is assessments and waiting lists. Number two is podcasting. If you don't create those digital assets, the Podcasting Academy online courses. Number 3, high performance coaching. You got to be guided through the strategy. So we take you through 12 weeks with a high performance coach. Number 4 is magazines, publishing. So it's either you're going to do a magazine, but you can either do a workbook or an authoritative book. Number 5, Growth Day. Growth Day is the best personal development community in the world. Number 6, live events. We do them on a regular basis. Plus, we do them, our virtual events. But you can go to the virtual event. But if you take the word virtual and put live, you can see our live events we do once a month at Grace Church in Kennesaw. So let me see. That's 6. 7 is our brand ambassador. Number 8 is, let me think. I'll give you number 9 is AI. Number 10 is social media. Krista O'Neill. She'll be teaching you how to use social media with being a key person of influence. But the live events, I know the numbers I just mixed up. Send Out Cards is our other one. I've been using it for 10 years. Phenomenal way to educate, to recognize people with their birthdays, special events, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful, beautiful cards. And that's our number 8. Number 7 was live event. It was ambassador program. Number 6 was live events and virtual events. So thank you so much. We hope you can join us. So our next step, if you've never been on my podcast, take an assessment, jump on my podcast. I'll have you as a guest. And then if you're a nice person and somebody that wants to make an impact, wants to give back, then we'll ask you to be part of our community. And that way you have a path to make an impact. You can have fun, and we can go on this journey together. So again, podcast, publish, and build communities locally and globally. And for you, be bold, make a difference,